I just want to ask you obviously if North Carolina can beat Duke, they can beat anybody. What is it about them that makes them so difficult to guard and just, how do you feel they are coming off that game?
I mean, it's North Carolina. As a program in the history of basketball, they're one of the best ones ever, and it's no different. They have really good players, but the one thing that's always been the same, ever since I played against North Carolina, is transition. They're one of the fastest teams ever, and it's no different this year. They have great size. When you look at Caleb Wilson and Basar on the inside, but their speed and their ability to turn makes or misses into layups on the other end, it's one of the things they do best. So just doing that, and then the battle on the glass, it's going to be huge. Because they're big, they're athletic, they're physical. We got to kind of match them in that. If we do that, we'll be fine.
I want to ask also about the student section is sold out.
Yeah.
That's a rarity around here.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about how important that is to have a lot of people in the building?
No, it's huge. It's huge. I feel like our guys deserve it. The way they compete, the way they play. It's just a testament to them to get some engagement and to put us in situations like this where we can get the fans out. And we need them out this game, but every game, especially down the stretch. So I'm excited to just feel the building and see the environment.
Coach, there are some parallels between your team, North Carolina, with a lot of the double big stuff you guys run, the pace.
Yeah.
Just what do you kind of think of the similarities between the two teams heading into this game?
It's kind of scary because we run a lot of the same stuff. So, it's very similar in what we do. And that's why I feel like it is a good matchup for us now. They're playing their best basketball of the year. And I think they showed their next step of their resilience and their character. Because I know what it's like to play in that game, and I know what it's like to get down in that game and have to battle back and win. That just shows their pedigree of where they are right now. I think, it's going to come down to whose identity shows more, because we're very similar in how we play. We both are high-scoring teams, both like to play in transition, both play double bigs, love to rebound, offensive rebound. So that's going to be a big part of the game. So it's going to see who wins those trenches. Who wins those wars more will kind of be the separator in the game to me.
And then with Caleb Wilson, just just an absolute star as a freshman. Just what do you kind of see from him preparing for this game?
I mean, he's really good. He's really good. I see what all the hype is about. The thing that shows just from watching him, I've watched him also when he was on the circuit and in the summer and stuff, but his ability to give everybody else confidence on the court as a freshman is the most impressive thing. Like, they have a guy they feel that they can go to, and he usually delivers, and you can just see the life it gives everybody else. I think him and Seth Trumbull both have that unique quality.
Shelton Henderson obviously has made an immediate impact for you guys as a freshman.
Yep.
Just what has impressed you about the way he's come in and carved out a role?
He's gotten better throughout the year. And the one thing about him is the year didn't start great. He's in foul trouble. He looked like a freshman, and for him to just keep playing, and now that we've gotten into ACC play, his consistency night in, night out. He's almost 16 to 18 points every time we go out there. He did have a streak where he was shooting from the line better. We got to get him back to shooting from the free throw line a little bit better. He started out the game shooting better, the conference shooting better. We got to get him back there. But just his ability to compete, to get better, and not be afraid of the moments has been huge.
Coach, you had just mentioned that your confidence in your bigs, your two guys.
Yep.
But specifically about Ernest, what he's given you guys offensively, he doesn't seem to hunt for shots.
Yeah.
But just everything that he kind of gives you on both ends. And
No, Ernest, the thing Ernest does doesn't necessarily show up in the stat sheet every night. When he's rebounding, he is on offense. He gives us, like I always say, he's like a great wide receiver. He gives us this lob threat where people have to guard us different in the ball screens, and they have. That's why we haven't gotten as many lobs, but it's opened up so much other stuff for us. And then his ability to offensive rebound, he came up with a huge offensive rebound at Boston College that won us the game. And then on the other end, defensively, we're able to switch with him where he can guard guards. We're able to leave him on islands against bigs where we don't have to double all the time because of his presence and his ability. And what he's done, and it's the one thing I felt was missing from the team and missing from him to take this next step, is he started to block more shots. getting them to understand where his blocks were coming from, and it's what he started to do more.
And he's such a big factor in defensive rebounding. You just touched on rebounding.
Yep.
Your team in general, though, has been good.
Yep.
This year the numbers are good, especially in conference. Just what would you kind of attribute that to? Not just Ernest, obviously.
It's what we talk about. It's the fabric of our team. It's what we base the game off of. I know how hard you play by how many times we measure it, how many times you crashed, how many times you blocked out, what are our rebounding numbers. At the end of the game, we want to be somewhere around, 40% of our misses back. Somewhere that should put you somewhere around 15 offensive rebounds. We want to be about 40 plus on the glass. So that's what our judges and base us off of, not if we made 10 threes or, that matrix for us is huge because it's how we built and who we need to be at all times.
Every game in the ACC obviously is big, but with Carolina and Miami being right next to each other, how do you think this team has grown from the beginning of the season to now to maybe not make this game bigger than it is?
I think we've just grown and we've gained confidence throughout. To start the season, although we have a lot of people who played in a lot of games, we're a new team. And so these moments that we've been in are a little bit different. So now we've been in tight games, we've won tight games. We know what it means to execute down the stretch. We've played top 10 teams. We played Florida, we played BYU. We played Clemson on the road. So we have all this data and all these experiences that should help you in February when you're closing down the stretch going into March. So this is our next test to be able to show it and see where we are. And like I told them, it's time for us to put our stamp on the season. And this is our first opportunity to do so.
Coach, when it comes to high school recruiting, how much easier does it make it to be able to point to guys like Shelton and Dante when guys are asking you, look, if I'm ready, I want to be able to play.
Yeah.
Those guys are playing significant moments in the ACC right now.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge because a lot of people aren't playing freshmen anymore. And I've showed them that I am okay with playing freshmen. I still think freshmen are some of your most talented players. I think it's showing this year across the nation with all the freshmen who are impact and winning. I think you have to be able to surround them with the right pieces. Now, I do think it's hard to win with 5 or 6 freshmen. But, my formula is if you can have 2 or 3 every year, one that's kind of can develop and grow his way into it, and then have 2 that can play right away. And it starts with, one, they have to physically be able to play right away. Both Sheldon and Dante, from a physicality standpoint, they're able to do that. And then they've developed through the season. And you never know what happens, but that's how you build your program this day and age. So you get Sheldon, you get Dante, you get some more people like them, like Caleb Gaskins, like we have coming next year. And so if you get, I don't know what will happen with Sheldon or Dante, but if you get those guys back for sophomore and junior years, now you have a nucleus, and now your best teams have retention. So that's how you got to kind of do it, build it within, get 2 or 3 freshmen every year, and then go to the portal and kind of fill it with what you don't have, and then go from there. But it's hard to have carryover if you don't have retention. And that's why those guys are so important, and why the minutes they get to log as freshmen will pay dividends in the future of the program.
Coach, with the expected pace of tomorrow night's game, do you expect to get more minutes from Noam and Timo and Sally?
We have to going forward. We have to. And we'll do a bunch of different stuff. A big part because of the numbers. I got to be more, just do a better job of subbing around the media timeouts to give these guys quicker hits. To extend it, we'll play a bunch of different defenses. We'll do a bunch of different stuff just to kind of, really for us and our guys with foul trouble and trying to find some rest and stuff like that.
The opposite is true. The Heels only play 8-man rotation.
Yeah.
Well, they got 3 guys playing in their 30s.
Yeah, no, it's if you look around the country, this is the time of the year where the rotation is really, and most teams, you look at the games, 7, 8 guys, and that 8th guy's probably playing about 10 minutes. So it's kind of what the college basketball is, to be honest with you. When you get into February and March, your rotation is shrunk. The guys who have established themselves and separated themselves play the most minutes, and that's everywhere.
Coach, this
Got
game
time
is
for a couple
really
more.
based off of X factors. You have your Caleb Wilsons, but you also have yours with Malik and Trey.
Yeah.
Just how important are they going to be in this game on
They're
both
huge.
sides?
They're huge. Those guys, as they go is as we go. And these are those moments where you rely on them, and you need them to be who they are at all times, and they've shown that capability. We just got to show it on Tuesday. For me, this game isn't any bigger than any other game we played. We just got to stick to who we are at all times. And if we do that, we'll be fine. You know, the one thing I told them that I'm most excited about going into February is that everything that we've struggled with, we can control. It hasn't been one team that has taken us out of anything or done anything to us where I'm like, man, I wish we had this, I wish we had that. No, we turned the ball over. We're dribbling off our foot, or we're throwing it out of bounds, or we're not, you know, finishing and making our free throws and doing things of that nature. Like, it hasn't been a team where I felt we were outmatched or overwhelmed, and I don't feel that way about North Carolina. If we can control what we can control, and focus on that, and response, because they're gonna make punches. They're a good team. They're not gonna come in here and be bad. It's North Carolina. You know what I mean? So we just gotta make sure we do our job, and we do that, we'll be fine.
You say the game is not any more important than any other one, but you're in February now,
Yeah.
everyone's resume, you know, resume building and
Yeah.
all that leading into March. How big would it be to knock off a team of that caliber for your team?
It's big because it's
Quality
the next,
wins,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying, but it's big because it's the next game. You know, we have, 8 games left in league. You know, I think 6 of them are quality wins. So we gotta just continue to do what we do. You know what I mean? That's the benefit of being, to me, in the second best league in the country this year. You know, I think we're right there. I would put the Big Ten ahead of us. I think we're better than anybody else in the country. So close down the stretch, we just gotta do our job. And it's game by game. You know, no matter what happens on Tuesday, we still gotta go to Raleigh on Saturday and play North Carolina State, and you get another opportunity. So everything is right in front of us. We just gotta make sure we're ready, we're prepared, and we're who we are.
Coach, not necessarily speaking to your team specifically, but just how do you think that in the portal era, how do you think that has affected playing freshmen early around the country? Do you think that has led to more freshmen playing early because coaches don't want them to subsequently hit the portal thereafter because of playing time? Or do you think that has caused freshmen to play less early because you see coaches portal up and add veterans?
I think it has caused freshmen to play less. I think one, because as a coach, you can look at all this experience and say, oh, this guy's played 3 years in the Big Ten, and, you know, he's done all this and done all that. You know, it's easier to feel like those guys will help you win, and they can. But it's all about getting the right freshman. You know what I mean? If you can get a Sheldon Henderson and a Dante Allen, they impact winning. And then also, you know, you can kind of shape them and mold them to become you and what the program is. You know, where some of these guys in the portal, they're already hardwired. So sometimes it's a struggle to try to rewire them when they've got 3 years of hardwiring, and by the time you get it there, maybe January, February, and now you're behind. You know, we had the benefit this year of just, and it's a testament to the staff, but we recruited great kids. And we recruited winners, and we recruited people who wanted to win and who were all about each other. And that's why we've been able to be in the situation, 18, 19 games? 18 games, you know, which is hard. It's hard to win. But it just goes to them. But, you know, I think it's showing that your freshman is still your most talented one. And you'll probably see 5 freshmen go in the first 5 picks. So, you know, now each class is not the same. You know what I mean? This class just happens to be special with what there is around the country. And you talk about guys like a Corey, who didn't get any recognition, and Keaton Wagler at Illinois. So you just see it everywhere. Those guys are high-end talent. So you got to have freshmen. There's no way you can win big without freshmen, because you need them. If they're not good enough or can't quite go to the NBA as a sophomore, if you get a guy like Sheldon Henderson back as a sophomore, you know, a guy who's averaging 16 points, he should be an all-conference player as a sophomore, and he's somebody you can build around. Same thing with Dante Allen. He's somebody you can build around, and that's how you win.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Good
Thanks,
luck
Coach.
tomorrow. Malik, what did you, I'm assuming you watched the Duke Carolina game. What did you see in North Carolina?
They're a super competitive team. They're long, they're linky, and 1 through 5, especially the 4 and 5, and Stevenson, I think that's his name off the bench. They're super long and linky, so they're a well-shaped team. They're well built, and they get out in transition very well. So that's what I've seen from the game.
It seems like it's a good matchup for you guys because you're similar. Can you talk about the matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, they're pretty tall in Lincoln. They're 4 and 5, but I think we fit well in our size guarding them too. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think we're going to guard all their sets, and it just comes down to one-on-one guarding your man and guarding your yard. So that's what it's going to come down to.
Malik, one of those matchups in particular, of course, is the front court one between you and Ernest and Wilson and Baysar. Just what do you think the keys are for the two of you in that matchup against their front court?
Yeah, I mean, for me and Ernest, I think we got to be the more physical group out of the bunch, and being dominant on the court, rebounding the ball at a high aspect, guarding their front court players too. So there's a lot that goes into it, but just being sharp for all 40 minutes and not taking our head off the swivel, and being there for the whole 40 minutes to get this win.
Malik, you faced a similar type of front court against Florida, but that was early in the season when y'all didn't really have that connection that y'all do now. What's the difference between then and now in terms of that front court connection?
For now, I think like me and E, we build chemistry throughout these games that we've been playing, and we got a sense for each other. We're playing off each other, whether his rebounding or he getting block shots or throwing lobs to him and stuff. We just building that chemistry, and I think from the Florida game, they had a lot of front court depth, which here there's only a couple of them. It's Caleb and the other big 7'2" guys. So I think we got to shape up well with them, and we won't have to see constant bodies or that's coming in and out the game. So that's what I see from the Florida to the North Carolina game.
The student section is sold out very quickly. Can you just talk about what do you guys get when the student section is filled? How do you think it'll help you guys having a full building, which is something you haven't had that often?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to help us with building a lot of momentum when we get on our runs, having the crowd behind us and getting on those runs, and having the fans behind us is super important because, like you said, we didn't have that coming down, especially at home games. So just having the crowd behind us is going to give us even more motivation and energy to go out there and play the whole 40 minutes and try to get that done.
Do you think there's any chance North Carolina will be like emotionally spent because they poured so much into the Duke game, or do you think that they'll be more motivated because they're coming off a big win?
I have no clue on how they're going to come in and play. I just know that our team has to come in with and be the team with the most energy and beat them to every 50-50 ball, beat them on the boards. So we got to be the more dominant team on the court, and we can't worry about how they feel or how they're going to come in and what type of energy they're going to bring throughout the game. We got to worry about ourselves.
Malik, that's the energy you and Trey have on offense. Just how have you seen that grow throughout the season, and what would you attribute to why you guys are so connected on the offensive end?
Yeah, I mean, everybody on the team is playing with extreme confidence in themselves. They believe in themselves to do the right thing every time they step on the court, and just like we do in practice, every single day, day by day, we're not worried about the next opponent. We're trying to get better ourselves, so we can have the confidence on the court every single day to go out there and perform at a high level.
Can you talk about the chemistry on this team, because it's rare to have a team where everybody's new, the whole coaching staff is new. You guys are all playing together for the first time. How have you been able to? You seem like a real team that plays together. Why do you think that is?
I think Coach did a great job with his recruiting and the guys that he brought in, and then just being open to everybody and not trying to, because when you go into a new program and stuff like that, you don't want to shy away from the guys and not talk to them, because that's not how you build chemistry or nothing. So just being open to everybody and giving open arms throughout the whole 6 or 7 months, however long we've been here so far, and just keep going and constantly getting better with yourself and to pour into everybody else. And I think that's how our chemistry's been built so far.
Malik, how have you kind of gone throughout this season as the primary offensive guy for this team, maybe compared to years past, but just what has it been like for you as you've kind of progressed with the expectations with your scoring on the offensive end?
Like I said, Coach puts me in a lot of positions to score the basketball, but I think my next step and taking my next step in this game is getting my other teammates involved, whether it's getting shots for Timo and Dome, the shooters involved. So just being open and willing to be a passer too, and not just being a scorer for them.
Anything else from Malik?
Just off of that question, how have you seen teams kind of defend you differently as the season's gone on?
Yeah, I play a lot in the pocket, so they shrink the court a lot, and just having, just knowing that I bring in so much attention in the paint, just being able to be a willing passer and kick the ball out to open shooters, especially when I have 2 or 3 defenders on me, and I kind of go up with some shots that probably are unnecessary or probably dumb taken. So just being able to be a willing passer, and that's definitely going to be the next step in my game.
Like with the way, as you're saying, with the way defenses have been playing you as of late, doubling you in the post and such, just how much of an adjustment has that been to counter what the defenses are throwing at you?
Yeah, I mean, I think pretty much my whole career in college, I've been double teamed since going back to IU. So, I mean, just being able to take the double team and, because it's 2 people on me, so there has to be somebody open, and just being able to get the ball to the right person to make another play for somebody else.